Hello guys, welcome again to my YouTube channel. I'm your girl Florence, creative director of Floxiify Apparels. On today's tutorial, let me teach you on how to draft and sew these palazzo pants with an elastic waist. So let's get right into the tutorials. So first off, I folded my fabric on fold, and of course, as you can see the line there, it's my starting point. So I went ahead now to verify if this wideness I folded already is going to accommodate my waist and the extra that I want it to have. So as you can see, it's going to be very okay. So what you do is you divide your hip by 4, then add your excess about 4 or 3 inches depending on how wide you want your pant, then at least a little bit of 3 inches extra for your crotch extension. So right away I went to measure my trouser length. My trouser length is, I'll place my tape on this starting point, as you can see here, which is serve as my waist, and I measure down to the desired length I want this pants to be. So right here I am marking 45, right? So you want the pant to go down, like go down your knee. You can mark 45. 45 is okay depending on the length your clients want. So why I went ahead, and that is my starting point. So I'm going to go ahead now to mark my waist to my hip. Now this waist to hip, it's dependent on your size. For me, I'm marking 10 inches. That's my waist to my hip. Some persons can be 9, some persons can be 10, some persons can be 8, some persons can be 7, depending on the size of the person. So now from that, my hip line, I'm going to be marking 2.5 inches as my crotch line. Now you can go ahead and mark 3, right? Since it's a palazzo pants, I went ahead now to mark 3. So I'm going to be connecting the points together right away. So that's my crotch line. So here we have, I'm going to be marking out now my hip measurement. My hip measurement is 44 divided by 4. I had 11. So I'm going to mark out my 11. Then I'm going to be adding, say, 2 to 3 inches. So as you can see here, I added about 2.5 inches, right? So that I'm marking all the way. I'll mark that same thing I had on my hip or my waist, and I'm going to connect it to have a straight line, right? This is how it is. So this straight line is supposed to cut across to my crotch line. So whatever I have on my waist or my hip measurement, that's what I'm going to be marking on my crotch line. So I went ahead now to mark it. Then I'm going to be using my rule to connect the lines together so we have a box. Now whatsoever you have on your crotch line, you're going to be dividing it by 4. So for instance, your crotch, what you have on your crotch line is 44. Divide that 45 by 4. It's 11, right? So 11 now divided by 4 again, that will be your crotch extension. Hope it's clear. So that's what I have on my crotch extension, which is about 2.5 and the rest. So for my waistline, I'm going to be marking where my crotch curve is going to stop, and that is 7. So now I'm going to be connecting my crotch extension to that point where I want the curve to stop. That's how it is right now. So this is it. So we're done drafting everything for the upper part, right? So the next thing we're going to be doing now is to determine the crease line or the midpoint for this trouser, because I don't want to just exhaust everything like that. I want it to follow a pattern, right? So whatever I have from on my crotch line, that is including my crotch extension, I'm going to be dividing it by 2. That will now serve as my midpoint. So that's my midpoint. Now I'm just going to be taking the measurements from that point to the end. That's what I should be marking all the way down. So I think I got about 9 inches as my midpoint. So I'm going to be marking it on the waist, on the other part down, so I could get a straight line from waist to my trouser length. So this is what I'm doing right here. So when I'm done marking, I'm going to be using my ruler now to connect the points together. So go ahead and do yours like this. This is a very easy step-by-step tutorials, and it is very easy to understand. So let's get right into it. So now I'm going to be marking the wideness of my pants, palazzo pants. So first off, I tried marking the round lap that I want, which was 22. So how you do it is, if your round lap or the round the wideness you want is about 24, divided by 2, you get 12. Now you're going to be placing 6 on one half and 6 on the other half. That's what I did here, right? So I placed 6 on the other half and placed 6 on the other half. You get, so that's the half shared into 2 places. That's the 12 shared into 2 places. So same thing I marked right there, I'm going to mark it down all the way so I could get or have a straight line. So go ahead and do the same thing on the other part of the pants. Now this is to enable us have a straight line, which is the essence for this pant, right? So I'm going to go ahead now to connect my, so while I was connecting my point, I'm ensuring that it is straight. I went ahead now and cut out from every corner. Just watch the way I cut out. So I folded my fabric on fold to get my back. Now while folding the back of this pant, you should be sure that you have excess on the crotch extension side and have your excess at the waistline, like 2 inches on the waistline or 2.5 inches. Then you have like 2.5 inches on the crotch extension. Then go ahead now to draw out your crotch extension, right? And this is going to be helping for the back. For the back extension, you're going to be coming down by ½ an inch for the crotch extension. Now this helps to allow the trousers sit well within that your flap and crotch extension area. So whatever I have on my crotch extension in front, that's the same thing I'm going to be putting on my back extension, which is 2.5 inches, right? Hope that's clear. So now we're going to be going to the upper side of my waist. So the back waist, I'm going to be coming out from that center front by 1.5 inch or 1.5 inch. Now that point is going to be serving as our original center back line. Now I'm going to be going up by 2 inches. Now this is dependent on the size of the person. Some persons can use 2.5 inch or depending on the butt of the person, right? Do you understand? So whatever I have on my waist in front, right, as my total waist, round waist, I'm going to be placing it on that new center back, and I'm going to be placing it on like a slanted area to get that my actual waist, the waist I had for my front, should be the same waist that you're going to be implementing in your back. So right now, that's my new waistline on my back. I'm going to be connecting it to this new center back. I hope you got that. So now you see that this particular place, I'm going to be connecting it to my hip line and my crotch line. So what I did exactly was to draw out my hip line and to draw out my crotch extension line. So on that both line, I'm going to be coming out about 1 inches, right, to accommodate or to meet up with my waistline. So I'm going to be connecting these points to the both points there, as you can see. So I was done connecting, and this is how it looks like, right? So now I'm going to be going ahead now to connect all the way to my trouser length. But on that my trouser length for the back, I'm going to be coming out by ½ an inch, right? So the trouser for the back is wider, like say like 1/2 inch or 1 inch, but right in this particular pant, I'm going to be using ½ an inch. So go ahead now and connect the points together, meeting each point you've marked out. So when I was done marking out the point or drawing the lines, I'm going to go over to the other side, the flap area. On that flap area, I'm going to come out by ½ an inch, somewhere around the knee area. half an inch, right? And I'm going to mark it down to my trouser length. I'm going to still mark that half an inch on my trouser length, the hem line, and that's how it is. So I'm going to connect that line to that particular half an inch, like you see me do. So I was done connecting it. I'm going to connect that same point with a curve or a slant to my back crotch extension. So I'm going to blend in that area so it doesn't look too sharp. So go ahead and blend in. So go ahead and blend in what you have there, right? So now I'm going to be connecting that by crotch extension to that center back at my top line. So go ahead, if you have a curve, hip curve, you can do this without stress. So I'm just using a free hand to curve it. It's not that perfect, but it's okay for me, right? So this is how it is. So I'm going to be going ahead now to verify everything, and it's very okay. So next up is to cut everything that I have there. You see how easy this is? It is very easy to understand. So now I'm going to be cutting out my pocket sides, right? I went in from that my seam allowance for the front pattern by 3 inches, and I'm going to be slanting my tape just the way you see me, like this, to actually get what I want. But after slanting, I'm still going to take a measurement from that my waistline down. I want it to be the length to be about 7 inches. So I'm going to be placing my ruler in a slanted way and connecting the line or the points together. So I'm going to be cutting that part out. Please, before cutting, make sure that both pants are together, both sides of the pant are together. So I was done cutting. I'm not going to dispose that part I cut. I'll just mark it, the upside and the sides. So I'll bring my pockets, my fabric back, fold it into 2, and I'm going to be marking out the length I want for this pocket. So you can go as deep as 16 or 15 or 12 or 14, depending on how deep you want with yours. So as you can see, I've already cut out it. I've cut it out in square pattern, right? So if you want yours to be deeper than this, you can go deeper. What I did here was about 12. So if you want yours to be deeper, you can. So you bring out that part you cut out, right, and place on the pocket bag you've already cut out. Now remember that this pocket bag is already in fold. Sorry, it's already on fold. So it's 2. I'm going to be cutting out 2 parts. So go ahead and cut yours like this. So now I'm going to be slitting open the other sides, so it becomes 2 pockets, right? So this is what you have here. So I will place it on top of my other square piece of fabric that I made out. Now this particular one will be my pocket bag. So I'm going to go ahead and to curve it in a way that looks really nice. So now this is my pocket, as you can see, and this is my pocket bag. So I'm going to be placing it over the other like this. Can you see? So that's my pocket bag. So we have pocket bag for both sides, and this is what it's looking like. So if you're going to sew, you're going to go ahead to sew the curve first, the curve area first. First off, so let's go ahead to sew the crotch extension for the back, and this is for the front, right? Let's go ahead and sew. I was done folding, and this is what it looks like. So if you've been following, yours should look like this. So this is my front pattern. I went ahead. Now I'm going to bring my pockets. Sorry. Now I'm going to be using this slanted area first, the part where I cut. Yes, that part. I'm going to be sewing on it first. So I'll bring it to the part where it's supposed to be on the trouser. That is right side facing right sides. So I'll place it, the slanted area on the trouser. Please follow me. So the way I placed mine, that's the way you're going to place yours. I will sew around that area, and I'll place the same thing I did for the other side. That's the same thing I'm going to be doing on the other side, right? So I'm going to be sewing on that slanted area, like half an inch. So when I was done sewing, this is what it's going to be looking like, right? So I'm going ahead now to stitch on that part where I sewed half an inch. Now I'm going to be stitching on the pocket side, not on the main fabric, right? So I was done sewing. I'm going to bring my pocket bag, and I'm going to be sewing round, just the way you see me. Sew round and stop on that edge. So I was done sewing, and this is what it looks like, right? So I'm going to be going ahead now to sew on my flap area, or joining both crotch extensions together. It's possible you go ahead and pin that place. I'm going to be sewing from that end with half an inch all the way down to my trouser length for both sides. So I was done sewing, and this is what it looks like. So if you've been following the tutorial from the beginning, yours should be looking like this. So I'm going to be going ahead now to fold my the hem of my trouser. So when you're done folding, you're going to be flipping to the other side so that you can join the seam sides together. So I was done joining, and this is what it looks like, right? If you want yours to be wider, you know what to do, add the extra. So I went around my waist to know exactly what I want for my waistband. So I went ahead now to mark out the inches I want. So for this, you can mark out 5 inches. When it's unfold, it becomes 2.5. Now this is dependent on the elastic you want to use, right? So I was just verifying if my elastic will be able to enter inside, and yes, it will. So I went ahead now to join the sides together. So, and it's already unfold. So I'm going to bring out the center back for that particular band. Now that part where there was a joining, I'm going to be placing it at my back of my pants, and I'm going to be pinning all together just the way you see me do. So I'm going to be pinning all around. Go ahead and pin. And I went ahead to sew, then fix my elastic just the way you see me do. So I was done fixing my elastic. I'm just going to close the two ends of the elastic like this and let it in, right? After cutting my thread, then I remove the excess. I'm going to let it in, right? So it stays in like that. Now that part where it is opened, that area where it is open, I'm going to be stretching it out while bending it in the way that the other would meet each other, and I'll be able to sew them together. So just the way you see me, I will stretch it out, then sew on it. So this is me sewing on it like this. Now on this particular part, I'm not going to be putting a drawstring because the elastic is really small. So maybe I'll create time to do something for you guys. So now to create that stitch on elastic that makes it looks like a jogger, right? A jogger waistband. You're going to be placing now the fabric, the band area on your machine, then stretching it as you're sewing. Make sure you're stretching it. You're stretching it and you're sewing just the way you see me do. Stretch yours and sew. Then when you're done, you stretch again until you complete the circle, right? So this is how it is. I went ahead now to sew round my band until I meet the first instance. So the same thing you did here, you can now go ahead now and do on the other side. So you're making it now double line, right? So go ahead and do the same thing as you can see. So when you're done sewing the double line, your work should look like this: the side pocket and the band. Please, if you've not subscribed to my channel, please do as well to subscribe, like, share, and drop a comment in the comment section. Bye.